Jasper Arts has some great shows coming up. We're going to talk about that in this edition of WJTS in.form. I'm your host, Bill Potter. Joining me in the studio is Kyle Rupert. Kyle is the Executive Director for Jasper Arts. Kyle, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Bill.
You've got some great shows coming up March 7th and March 14th that we're going to talk about in this show.
Yes.
Let's see if I can get this right. March 7th is The Second City.
Yes.
And that is a show that will be at the Astra.
Correct.
Okay. And then March 14th is Che Appalache.
Yes,
I got it
you
right.
got it.
I had more trouble saying that. And that is going to be on the 14th, and that's a backstage performers.
Yeah.
So let's start talking about that. First of all, let's talk about the March 7th show.
Yeah, The Second City, celebrating 60 years of existence. Just a powerhouse in improv comedy. They have produced the likes of Tina Fey and Stephen Colbert and Keegan-Michael Key. I mean, real icons in the comedy world have come through the Second City program. And we have the good fortune of bringing in a touring company to do some of the best skits in Second City's history. So a lot of things people might be familiar with, as well as their own improvisation sprinkled throughout the show. It's a really fun evening.
So it's an evening of comedy.
Absolutely.
How many different comedians will there be?
There'll be 6 in the cast.
Wow. Okay.
They're all members of Second City. They're all members of the Actors Equity Union, which is a professional union for actors. So they're all very talented comedians and actors as well. I actually had the good fortune of seeing this particular cast earlier this year at another location, and they are hilarious, and their improvisation is spot on, and it was a fantastic evening.
Now, this is a show that's at the Astra, which is kind of unusual for Jasper Arts because you do have several shows at the Astra. Why at the Astra? This one fits in better?
Well, yeah, it does. You know, that we're very fortunate to have great partners and great collaborators in the Next Act who run the Astra. They work with us on the shows that we were able to present out there, and it just feels like comedy fits in with the vibe of that space. And I think anytime you can fit improv into a space of that size, so it's about half the size of the Arts Center, so you really get up close and personal with the performers, and really makes for a fun evening. We've done comedy in there. Last season, our first season having shows there, we had comedians there, and it went over really well. I know the Next Act has presented comedians in there, and it's always seemed to do pretty well. So it seems like it's a pretty good fit.
Are tickets still available?
We have a few. There are about 20 tickets as of this conversation that are available, but you know, by the time someone calls in or goes online would probably be the fastest way. They may not, so there's not many tickets left.
Now, if there is and oftentimes the shows for the Jasper Arts do seem to sell out, and which is great. Is it possible for somebody maybe the Friday before to call and say, hey, is it possible some tickets got turned back in? Because that could happen.
Absolutely. We do have some patrons who, for one reason or another, can't make the show. They call us, they donate their tickets back to us. So sometimes we do have tickets available. Sometimes we have tickets available at the door. So doors for the Second City are going to open at 6:30. So we might have tickets that become available then. And then the show's at 7:30. So there's an hour there yet to get tickets that day.
Okay, but they better get them now because chances are that's going to sell out.
Absolutely.
Second City, the Second City. I guess
they haven't
is correct.
been in Jasper since 1988.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been a long time.
So this is, and we could see the next big act.
You never know.
You don't know.
You don't know. I mean, there have been so many. I only listed a few, but the list goes on and on of the number of people that have just come through that program that have gone on to SNL or late night TV or other sketch comedy. I mean, it's phenomenal.
So if they want tickets, best to go online, but they can also call for information.
Yes, they should go online at jasperarts.org. That's the website where our tickets are sold from, or they can call 812-482-3070, talk to our box office at the Arts Center, and we can hook them up with tickets there.
They should not call the Next Act or the Astra because this is your show, so they need to be calling you.
Right.
Okay. Now, a show coming up March 14th.
Yes.
That's a really cool show.
Yes.
Che Appalache. Or Che.
Che.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Didn't get it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Let's talk about that.
Che Appalache is a really great group. It's four guys, and they play a style of music that they've called Latin grass. So they started, the leader is from North Carolina, and then he traveled the world and ended up in Argentina teaching bluegrass. and he had 3 students that really got into the music, and so they started a bluegrass band. And after a little while, they decided that, you know, they have all this Latin influence. They wanted to infuse that into the bluegrass music that they were playing. So they came up with this style called Latin grass. So the show is really neat because within that style, they'll play some songs that are going to be traditional bluegrass music that you'd hear in the Appalachian Mountains, where my extended family's from, and then they'll also play songs that have a more of a Latin vibe or Latin influence. And there's a lot of emotion and heartfelt meaning behind a lot of their songs. And what's really cool about it is their setup is the 4 guys stand around a single microphone, and their harmonies are fantastic as well. So they do a really great job blending their voices and their instruments together. And on top of that, in the backstage series, you're sitting like feet from them.
Right.
So it's going to really be a nice, intimate evening of lively music and really emotional music as well.
And right up close.
Yeah.
Are tickets available for that show?
We have about 6 tickets left for that
Okay,
show.
so that one's
6 or
pretty
8.
tight.
That one's pretty tight as well. So towards the end of the year with these last few, the backstage series and the shows at the Astra, tickets get harder and harder to come by as we get closer to the show. But yeah, tickets are pretty tight for that one. Same ticketing information online, or call us for tickets to that show. We might have some the day of as well, but I would encourage anybody who might even be a little bit interested to get their tickets early.
Well, and even better, get your tickets really early, because a lot of your shows are terrific shows, and you're about to announce the 2021 season, so you sell tickets well in advance of that. You can buy the series, and then you don't have to worry about tickets being
Then you know
sold
you
out.
have them, yeah. So we'll announce our next season coming up in June, end of May, early June, and tickets will be available soon after that.
And you always print one of these really nice books that kind of describes each of the acts, but there's an order form generally inside of it that they can buy their tickets for next year right away.
Yeah.
And if somebody does that, do they get the same seats that they've generally had?
So for our main stage shows, we do reserve seating. So once you have that seat, you get the option, if you're a season ticket holder or a series ticket holder, you get the option to reserve that seat the following year before anybody else gets a chance to. If you bought individual tickets, and this is probably one of my favorite things, if you buy tickets to one show, if you bought one ticket to one show, we're going to send you a guide that has everything in it. If you've never got it before, doesn't matter. If you bought a ticket, we're going to send one to you. It's no cost to you. We're going to send it to you just so you know everything else that's going on. But if you only bought individual tickets to shows and didn't buy a package, then for the main stage, you don't have that option to keep that same seat every year. That's only available for people who buy the whole package. The other shows in our season, the shows at the Astra and the shows we do backstage in our family show, that's general admission seating. So it's really first come, first served. Get there as soon as you can and get the seat that you want, but we don't reserve the seats for that.
Okay, so great shows coming up, and looking forward to you announcing the 2020-2021 season. About what time will that be announced?
Towards the end of May or early June is when we'll make that announcement.
Are these the last 2 shows then for the year?
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to take advantage of it, March 7th at the Astra is Second City, the Second City, and then March 14th at the as part of the backstage series at Jasper Arts Center is Che Appalache.
Yes.
Made
Nailed
it through. All right, Kyle, anything else you'd like to add?
Just I think the time, and hope to see a lot of people out there.
All right, Kyle, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching 18 WJTS. We are local people watching local people.